What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardworking Happy Hour. I'm Sean.
And I'm Catherine, and as always, we'll be breaking down all things trades, entrepreneurship, and turning your creativity into a passion career. Sean?
Yo, what's happening?
How are you today?
I am doing, honestly, pretty great.
Better than ever?
Great. I mean, that's a bold statement. Better than ever? I don't know about that, but overall, very good. I'm feeling great. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling so good. I was just discussing. I haven't had coffee this morning because I ran out of creamer, but there's these new Boom Boom sticks that Steve introduced us to. You're not a fan. I'm kind of a fan. It's like a menthol stick. You just inhale. It's kind of refreshing. It's nice.
For those of you that are not seeing the video, it is it kind of almost looks like a chapstick, and you pop off the top, and then you stick it in your nose and sniff on it. And
I don't think you have to stick it. Well, you stick it up to your nose. You don't have to stick it in your nose.
Yeah.
I
guess
so.
I mean, probably a little bit more
effective.
And yeah, Steve introduced us to these probably a week or two ago, and I was just saying, I love a new thing that's different that could help me focus a little bit better. So when he told us about this, it said it waked him up a little bit, and it's just like essential oils and I don't know, whatever, and you just sniff it. It's supposed to make you more alert and stuff like that. Normally I would latch onto that like crazy and start sniffing them 100 times a day. I don't like it. It doesn't do anything. It does nothing.
Yeah. I don't think it makes. I mean, it's not like drugs. It's not making me more alert. That's for sure. But it is like a nice, refreshing thing because it's like menthol. So it's. Do you remember back in the day when they had the Vicks sticks? It's the same thing. I don't know why they stopped making those.
No.
I also really enjoyed those. But it just clears out your sinuses. It's like a.
This is a habit. Have you ever? Clearing out your sinuses. Have you ever done Afrin?
No, that's not good for you. It makes the situation worse.
Well, long term, yes, but short term, oh my god, it's amazing. It's like well, you don't like breathe right strips, but breathe right strips. First time I put one of those things on, I was like, I can get air up here. I can get air through my nose. This is amazing. Because I got a crooked nose.
I was gonna say, do you have a deviated septum or do you have?
Yeah, I do.
Hypochondria. Because I feel like those things don't do anything unless you have a really actually deviated septum.
Check it out. You can see how crooked it is.
I can't see, but I'll believe you. I trust you.
Yeah.
Did you break your nose at some point, or you're just
it's
born
just
that way?
God made it crooked as hell. So that's where I'm at. I got the Owen Wilson thing going on. Huh. But it's part of my charm. It is part of my charm. So part of my uniqueness. Anyway.
I have a deviated septum. Do I?
No, yours is dead straight. That's why the breathe right strips don't do anything for you.
Okay.
You got nothing to fix there. So yeah, the Afrin spray though, oh my god, you spray that up, it clears out your whole head and you can breathe so clear. It's amazing. Huh. But yeah, you start, you're like, oh, I'm having a little, can't breathe that good. Give it a couple more squirts and you can become dependent on it. Yes. So
what is it? Just saline solution?
No. It's Afrin or something. Afrin is a play on whatever the substance is. It's something like that. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty great. So try out all those things. Is there anything else that you can stick up your nose that'll make you more energized and alert? I can't think of anything. Maybe I should invent something like that.
Yeah. Work on that, scientists.
Yeah. Anyway, don't do drugs, everybody. Don't do drugs. What do we got? What do we got going on this week? What do we got? We got a good episode for everybody.
Oh, I thought you meant the heat. That's what we got going on this week.
We'll touch on that a little bit, but this week we're going to be talking about quite a few things. It's I got a little introspective this week and talking about how far we've actually come. We've been in business over 10 years now. And I just want to talk about how the business has grown and how it's happened kind of little by little, and you almost don't stop to take note of it. You're so caught up in it that you don't really take note of, wow, we've come a far way. Let's appreciate it for a second and try to figure out what is it about growth and getting better, and what are the things that we did right to get us to this point? What are the contributing factors? So that's something we're going to talk about. And then the one thing that I can't stop thinking about, nobody can stop thinking about, it's all anybody in the world is talking about, is what we can learn from car commercials. So
hot topic, yeah.
It's a very hot topic. But, I was watching TV yesterday. I was watching the NBA Finals, and there's so many car commercials.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's so many car commercials. I never quite realized how many and how frequent and how, so many different brands are advertising on the same event. And got me thinking, there's a lot of different strategies at play here. There's a lot of different angles happening here. So I think we can pull a lot of correlations, a lot of insights out of this. They spend millions and millions and millions of dollars trying to figure out what's the best way to sell this car to somebody. So what can we pull from that we can maybe use in our business? Let them spend the money on the research. We'll take the, we'll take the spoils.
Love that. Yeah, they do spend a ton of money on it, so might as well use it.
Yeah. No wonder why cars are so freaking expensive,
Cars really are expensive.
It's insane. It's like, so insane.
Yeah, it's unhinged.
We're like, kind of borderline. Sarah's going to need a new car eventually. We're not sure when that's going to be. Her car just hit 100,000 miles. Now's probably a good time to get the most back for it. So we're like, should we get a new car? We're going to have another kid in there. Do we need more space? Whatever. And then we're looking at cars, and I feel like I've become so like disassociated with what things used to cost that looked up a couple cars, and then I forget which one we looked up, and it was like, oh, this one's only like 56,000. That's amazing. Because that was like the cheapest SUV with a third row you could find.
Yeah.
The first like 5 I looked up were like $90,000.
Yep.
Like a Hyundai Genesis, $90,000.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Damn.
Like everything's like $100,000. It's insane. Yeah. So when I saw, I think it was like a Toyota Highlander or something, it was like $56,000. I was like, oh wow, what a great deal. And then I'm like, what? That's over half of $100,000. It's insane.
Yeah, it is really crazy. I keep looking at car, like I have two working cars. I don't need a new one, but I am always kind of like, well, these are old cars. I should probably, whatever. I do that mental gymnastics of talking myself into I need a new one, and then I look and I'm like, this is like some people make this so this is like some people's annual salary, and I'm like, I feel like I should be at a point right now where I can afford a new car. Like, I'm old, I'm financially comfortable, I should be fine buying a new car. And I'm like,
yeah,
I mean, I can, I just don't want to. Like, that's not like a fun purchase when you're spending like that much money. That's like, oh my god,
it's really not. It's you really have to balance out, like, okay, is it going to be worth, like, am I going to get this much more enjoyment out of it versus what I already have?
Yeah.
I think you definitely need something. Used. You definitely need something new to you. It could be used. It could be new, whatever. You and Pat probably both need new vehicles.
You mean additional vehicles? Because we're adding to our collection.
I am so sorry that I even sort of implied that you guys should get rid of any vehicles. You guys only have 5 between the two of you. Is that correct? 5, right? Yeah. You need more. You need to get those numbers up. It's no offense. It's embarrassing.
Lame. Yeah, it's pretty lame. It is. Yeah.
So instead of 1 new car, get like 6 used cars. That'd be great.
Yeah. Okay. We have 6 cars, and our newest car is from 2016.
Wait, you have 6 cars?
I mean, 5 cars. Sorry.
5 cars.
And our newest is from 2016. So.
Is that your Nissan Rogue?
That is the Rogue, yes.
That is the Rogue, wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's our most reliable vehicle at this point.
Yeah. Hey, what are you going to do?
It's quantity over quality. That's how we strive in this house.
Absolutely.
We got trailers, we got boats, we got all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
None of it's like even remotely close to new, but
if you guys need to, get out of Dodge quick, you're going to have many transportation options, which is good.
Yeah.
You can go by land or by sea.
For sure. Yeah.
So,
the other day my brother was Pat's got a truck, a van, and another truck. And I have a truck and an SUV. And the other day my brother was like, hey, can I borrow your truck? I got to go get some stuff from the Home Depot. He's the one that gave me my truck because it was my dad's truck. Anyway, Pat's truck broken down. His like daily reliable truck broken down in the shop. His other truck, some guy was wrenching on that. My truck, one piece broken. I needed to fix it. So at one point the other week we had 3 trucks, none of them usable. So
3 trucks incapacitated.
Yeah,
wow.
It was pretty funny. I was like, wow, this is a situation.
Oh, it's definitely a situation. But hey, what's better than having a bunch of vehicles? You know, it's a hobby in its own thing.
Yeah, we get to play the parking game where everything goes. It's a good time. All these vehicles.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck with all that.
Thank you.
So let's get into it a little bit. Maybe let's talk about our first topic, and then we'll talk about the heat a little bit, because I do want to touch on that, because the weather's crazy. But anyway, a couple weeks ago, I think somebody commented on our Instagram page, and they had scrolled all the way back to the very first post that was from actually 2014. That was the year preceding Premier Outdoor Living becoming a company. So at that point, the company was called Greener Outdoor Living, and we were mostly doing landscaping. But the first post is of this like backyard arbor thing with a planter box on each side. It was for a client that we had done lawn care for. We had done landscaping, all that kind of stuff. And, they were like, hey, we kind of want some sort of decorative arbor back here. So built them one. And I mean, it was okay. It was okay. I thought it was really cool at the time. Looking back, it was like, this design leaves a little something to be desired. It was a little too over the top. It had too many different rafters happening. It wasn't the best, but it was still pretty cool. And they went all the way back to that first post and commented, I've been following you for a while, and I just really wanted to see where this all started and how far you've come, because I'm just getting started or something like that. And it was a picture that I hadn't looked at in probably almost 10 years. I'd never scroll all the way back to our first post. We've got like over 2,000. And it just really got me thinking then and over the last couple of weeks, just how far we've come. And what are the contributing factors to that? Because trying to project out 10 years from now is pretty difficult to do. I'm better at probably projecting out maybe 1 to 3 years, but 10 years is such a long time. Like, so much can happen in that time. And I think it's a cool exercise to look back and see how far, whatever the timeline has been, how long it's been, and all the things that have gotten you to this point. And it makes you realize like what's possible if you double that time. Like 10 years from now, this business, the things that we create, everything could be so much different, better, cooler. Like, so many amazing possibilities are there when we just look at, if we just continue upon this trajectory and this roadmap that we've been following, amazing things can happen, you know?
Yeah.
So
I always like to think about, like, when people ask you your 10-year goal, like, how could you possibly answer that? I hope it's something that I couldn't even possibly fathom right now. And I feel like that's what has happened from your 10-year ago self.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you can imagine pieces of it. You can kind of conceptualize the vision of, part of it, but it's hard to, you can't envision every little detail of 10 years in the future. And we've come a really long way, like in a sense of projects that we've done. That first like arbor thing, it was right after I built our first deck, and it was in like the 1 or 2 months in that span where we were still cutting grass and doing stuff before I decided to get rid of everything and just focus on building these outdoor projects. And it was so early on in my journey as a carpenter, as like a designer, as really anything. And it's just incredible how far we've come, how much better we've gotten. And it's just crazy to look back at the risk of, I mean, it wasn't that big of a risk because I didn't have that much going on, but to just say we're just going to build custom outdoor spaces, and like that was one of my shining portfolio pieces, was this little arbor. And you know, it's been over the course of 10 years, the thing that I think has been consistent the whole time is just a curiosity to learn more and a commitment to not only get better, but stick with it. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like I've heard that before. Stick with itness is like the number one determining factor in success. Like just being able to persevere, have determination, have, you know, the determination. What word am I looking for here? You know what I'm talking about. The persistence, the
perseverance,
the discipline. My God, to just stick with something and see that slow growth, that 1% better on each project or each day or whatever it is, and see that compound over 10 years. It's pretty insane to look at what we built then to now we're building these huge backyard projects with big roof structures, some of them kind of complicated, you know, trying new things. And it's just crazy to see day one to now. You know, you kind of notice the progression as you're going through it, but like to step back and see, okay, this is really where it started and this is where we're at now. This is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And just to know, like, you always think about yourself as that you're kind of all over the place and it's hard for you to stay consistent and stuff. But then when you actually, and if you think about like going forward, I'm going to make this plan and I'm going to stick to it rigidly and blah, blah, blah. But that's also really hard for me. If you look in the past, you can kind of see how, you know, maybe there were some wobbles or there was some, you know, some light patches or whatever. But for the most part, you have stayed consistent with your goals and the things you've tried out, you've stayed consistent with, and you've brought in people that have helped you stay consistent, and you've like carved your own little consistent path for yourself. So, you know, even though you think that it's one of your weak points, you actually have done a pretty good job at it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's really nice of you. I hadn't thought about that either. That's a good point. Like, I always look at one of my biggest weaknesses and shortcomings is that I am kind of all over the place. I can come up with one idea that I think is, you know, this is what we got to do, and then flip-flop, come up with a different idea and go back and forth, not staying super consistent in the short term with my thought process or ideas that I come up with, or what's our system for doing this particular thing, or what do we need to do right now to grow. And that all is absolutely 100% true and a reality. But yeah, when you do, you know, back up and see the whole picture, when you were saying that, I was kind of envisioning it like, you know, we've been going towards the same destination the whole time. It's just like, you know, instead of it being like a linear path, it's been like pretty linear, but like buzzing around that path. Like, you know, we're still moving the same direction, kind of like how a bee moves, you know? They don't go in a straight line, really. They're like, bzz, 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 bzz. But if you kind of, the more you zoom back, the more it looks like a straight line. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And now 10 years of progress, that's like you can step back pretty good on 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it really, like, the thing that I reflect on with this, and the thing I appreciate the most, and the thing that I give the most credit for getting this far, is really just showing up every day and a commitment to try your best, to get better. You know, you got to be passionate about it, but that's really it. And just rinse and repeat. Just keep doing that, and you're going to get better. You're going to see growth. You're going to see progress. And I've got a couple different examples of that same strategy working in different facets of our business. So obviously the projects are the most obvious one. You know, you just look back at that first picture And we'll have to get a picture of that and pop it on the screen here for you. So, and shameless plug here. If you're listening to this audio only, check us out on YouTube. You can watch us. You can see us talk and see our facial expressions and how animated we are. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't even know what I'm doing right now with my hands, but if you're watching on YouTube, you will. So obviously the projects have gotten so much bigger, more complicated, cooler. You know, we've had some amazing opportunities to just build really cool stuff, to test our limits, to push my design ideas and all that kind of stuff. And that's the most visible thing. Like, obviously, you look back at the projects we started with, the projects that we're doing now, and it's like, it doesn't look like the same company. It doesn't look like the same people are building this stuff. And obviously, we've hired people along the way that have completely helped and made this possible. But, you know, that's the most obvious one. Mm-hmm. You zoom back and you look at how much better, bigger, and cooler, and just better, really. Like we've done a better job. We've all gotten better at what we do, and it shows in the finished product. And you can, if you start to zoom back in, you can see those little progressions year by year. It gets a little bit better. We're doing a little bit more unique stuff. And, you know, when you're in it, you kind of appreciate that. But I've always just had the mentality of, we're going to try to build the coolest thing that we can. We're going to try to come up with cooler ideas. I'm going to try to become a better designer with every project. And we don't hit the mark every time. One project to the next, it might be like, you know what, I wish I would have changed some things on this, or I shouldn't have let the client dictate this detail because it didn't turn out great. Things like that. Like, you know, project to project, it's not always going to be up, but the more you do and the more that you have that mindset, the better everything is going to get, and you're going to have that slow, steady progression. It's when you want that, you know, blow up moment. Like, I think a lot of people see stuff that we're building, stuff that other people are building, and they're maybe just getting started, and they look at that like, I can't get there. Like, that's impossible. How am I going to get to this spot? And I remember seeing projects like that, like seeing these outdoor living spaces that were just insane, that were like on the cover of catalogs or on a manufacturer's website. And it was like, I can't even begin to like fathom how you sell this job, how you design this, how you come up with all of these cool ideas. And now, by just focusing on getting a little bit better with each one, we've kind of gotten to that point. And there's still so much more that we can get better at, and I can become so much better of a designer, and there's so many things in the business that we can refine and get better at. But it really is just, you have that mentality of stick with it, get a little bit better, and it happens. You trust the process, and it happens.
Yeah.
You know?
You got to believe in yourself.
You definitely have to believe in yourself. It's the only thing you got. It really is the only thing you got. And normally,
the only thing that you work on from the moment you're born to the moment you die is yourself. So you might as well believe in yourself.
That's a good point.
Because you're all you got. You're all you got. Did I say that right?
You're the only one in your corner.
You're the only one in your corner.
Forever. Hopefully not. Hopefully you got some more people in your corner, but you know. From
the moment you are born to the moment you die, you're the only person that you have in your life.
Consistently. Otherwise, it's a revolving door.
Unless potentially you have a twin and they outlive you.
It's a good point. It's a good point. That's not me, though. So, that's obviously the most visible thing, is the projects have gotten bigger. But another thing is, you know, especially with this project that we're doing now, there's been so many different aspects to it. Some of the aspects, you know, have been like larger things. Basically what I'm getting at here is we've got new equipment now. Like, and I feel like the equipment that we have gotten to this point, I mean, 10 years ago, I couldn't even imagine having all of it. Like, this was such a dream to have a skid steer, to have a mini track loader, to have a dump truck, to have a big trailer that can tow this stuff around. Like, that was a dream. And now we're here, and to just see how efficient it has made the project and how much better it has made the experience for the customer because we're able to do like daily trash runs and like keep the job site clean. And if we just need a few yards of dirt, I don't need to call up a delivery, wait for them, I can just go pick it up. Like we've gotten to a point where I'm proud of how far we've come. And I want to try to, for myself, take a moment to appreciate that there's a lot of work that's been put into this, and it's making things a lot better. It's making our job better. It's making, like I said, the customer experience better because we're able to like keep the job site a lot cleaner. We're able to be more organized because we're not dependent on the schedules of other companies, like waiting for a dumpster or waiting for a delivery or getting rid of trash, all of that kind of stuff. Like now we can be in control of that. And I think it's been amazing. It's been such a help on this project specifically because it's like the first one we've had this new fleet of equipment like really mobilized, and it's awesome. It's really great.
Yeah. I think it's also healthy that you look at it like the whole thing is this thing that you're creating. This business is like this living entity that you've created, instead of just being like, yeah, I go to work every day. I own this business, or like, it's healthy to look at it as its own entity that's growing, and it's not just you, it's a team of people that are growing it, but you've created the team, and it's not just something that like, well, I gotta have a job, so I made this thing so I can, make some money and pay my bills. Like it's like a living entity that you have created and nurtured.
Yeah.
And I feel like that also helps, you can like sit back and enjoy this thing that you've babied into existence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to harp on this for too long because and I don't want it to come across like as braggadocious, like, whoa, look at all the stuff that we've done and we've got. It's not about that. It's about like, we have come a long way, and looking back and trying to figure out what was the one thing that made it all happen. What's the common thread here? And it really is the persistence. I think that's probably the best word, is persistence. Mm-hmm. Persistence to get better. And I think the best example of persistence is with YouTube. Another question that we get a lot is, hey, I want to start making more content, doing YouTube videos. And a lot of people are doing, I think there's more people now than ever creating really good content, especially for Instagram and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. YouTube's a little bit different because it's just a lot more work to put together a 5, a 10, a 20-minute video every week, or any type of consistent interval. And we've been doing it since the beginning of 2019. And it's something I've enjoyed the whole time. I loved in the beginning editing all the videos myself, like doing all that stuff. And it's been over 6 years now. And, I think a lot of people look at the subscriber count. We're almost at 400,000, and it seems like this like instant blow up or something if people aren't familiar with it. And it's like I'm so proud that we've stuck with this for over 6 years, because like if you think of how much work one video is, we've done that like almost every single week for 6 years. And it's insane. That is so crazy. Yeah. It's so much work, and like I said, obviously we love doing it, and it's fun, and it's another creative thing that we all get to do and be a part of. But there's so many ups and downs with that. Like, we put in so much work in the beginning, like so much, and nothing came from it the first year. And then partially thanks to COVID and people Googling and searching for outdoor projects and inspiration and how-tos, like 2020 is really when like the channel kind of blew up, and we had our first like viral videos on there. And then you still go through like all these ups and downs. Like we've gone through periods of a couple months where it's like, our viewership's down a lot, and that can be like so disheartening. Like, oh my God, we've been building this for so long. We've put so much work into this, and now it feels like we're going backwards, and it makes you like want to kind of give up, but we haven't. And then you get out of that, and like maybe you find, maybe you kind of find a new audience or something as your business changes and your content changes. Maybe you just need to find a little bit of a different subset of an audience, and eventually you do, and the views go back up. But following that can be like the most disheartening thing, because it feels like you don't have complete control over like what the results are. But I think we should give ourselves a pat on the back for just sticking with it, because it's so much work. And to just think that we have created 6 years worth of content on YouTube is insane. It's crazy.
It is crazy. How do we still have things to talk about?
I don't know. That's the craziest part. Like, it's really insane. So really, like, we'll leave it at that. But I just think it highlights the importance of persistence and slow and steady growth. Slow and steady is going to be the most sustainable. It's why I've always been a big fan of, saving up, buying things when you can afford them, not financing them. Like, steady, sustainable growth is the way I think that a good business should be built. At least for me, that's what I'm comfortable with. And it's possible. Like, 10 years feels like a long time, but it also feels like a short time looking back on it. So it's like, if you just look at where somebody else is already, and you don't think about, the 10 years it took them to get to that point, it's gonna discourage you and be like, well, I can never get to that. And it can also, you can kind of become blind to how far you've come in the last 10 years. And, you can get into a rut. And if you step back, you can be like, okay, if 10 years ago I was here, now I'm here, where could I be 10 years from now? Everything could be different. Yeah. It's insane. So I think it's just valuable to do that from time to time. See how far you've come. Give yourself a pat on the back for what you've accomplished. And, realize that you stick with it, great things are going to happen.
Yeah. That was nice.
Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Well, that's kind of it for that. Stick with it, everybody. Don't give up. Don't give up. My God. Don't give up. So, and what's with the heat? My God.
Listen, I have no idea. It was this weekend. It was rainy and like 60 degrees. It was freezing. I had to sail all weekend, and it was like I was in like layered up. It was freezing. And then when was that? Tuesday. It was like
almost 90 degrees.
But it felt like 1,000. It was
really
so
did.
humid. It was awful.
I did not understand what was happening, because like I think it was yesterday. Yesterday was like 86 or something. And I'm like, I see that it's like 86 degrees. It feels like 1,000,000 degrees. Yeah. And I open up the weather app and it's like 86 degrees or whatever. Feels like 100, because it was like 100% humidity. It was like crazy. And like a couple days ago, it was cold.
Yeah.
And now next week, the actual temperature is going to be 100. And with humidity, it's probably going to feel like 110. So the swings of weather have been really crazy.
It's been outrageous. And I feel like you're just not like your body doesn't have time to like ease into it when it's just like a normal summer. You get used to it. But whenever that was, 2 days ago or whatever, we went to a nursery to pick up plants, and I was just moving around plants. Some of them were like a little bit big, but it wasn't like I was struggling or anything with them. And then I got back in the van, and Steve's like, "Oh God, did you get sunburned?" And I was like, "No, I think I'm just flushed. This is what my face looks like when I'm like hot and doing stuff." It was crazy.
This is what my face looks like when I'm hot and doing stuff. Yeah, it's been crazy, and I feel like they say with like climate change, it's not necessarily just global warming. It's like the swings in unpredictable and extreme weather. Mm-hmm. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know anything about it. I believe most of the scientists, I guess. I don't know. I feel like one day we're just gonna kind of wake up, and it's gonna be like we're just gonna slowly ease into like apocalyptic weather and be like, we're gonna have one of these like 10 year in business moments. Like, oh look where we're at now. Huh? Now I think we might be in that apocalyptic, climate change area. So I don't know if that's going to happen. Hopefully not, but we'll see.
We're kind of there. Like North Carolina with their weirdo hurricane that like just decimated Asheville, which was completely out of the blue.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, we're not gonna get into that too much.
Yeah, but it is like, what are we gonna do next week? It's gonna be, I think it's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are all supposed to be 100 degrees with like 90% humidity or whatever. Yeah. So
we'll see.
TBD on that.
Yeah, we'll see. Probably work a little bit in the morning and then cut it short. But we'll see what we can do. It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be really hot. So
what do people in hot climates do? We're in New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode, or just another topic. But what we can learn from car commercials. Car commercials, they're everywhere. Mm-hmm. They're absolutely everywhere. I was watching the finals yesterday, the NBA finals, and I just noticed how many car commercials there are. And how many different brands advertise on something like the NBA Finals. Got a wide range of audience. It's a big event. And car manufacturers all want part of it. They all want to get in on the action. And I noticed a couple things that we could pull from it that was interesting. Again, these companies spend millions and millions of dollars. I feel like Donald Trump is like, billions and billions and billions and billions. They spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on, research and focus group testing on what type of commercial is going to evoke a feeling inside of you that makes you want to buy that car. Mm-hmm. I think people are so numb to advertising that they don't, and that's kind of the point of it. They don't understand and realize the effect that it has. Yeah, it's so subconscious, and it makes you feel like, a certain way, like, yeah, I'm that type of person. So I need that type of car because that describes me. So here are a couple findings that I noticed from watching all of these car commercials yesterday. There's a huge push on who can be the most American. That's like, I saw two stuck out to me because they kind of went different ways about it. So Ford, their commercial was all about being American, and this is what America's about, and just we are the truck of America, and had all the people in the plant, and designed here, built here, for here. And it was just this like very like patriotic, like American, blue collar kind of vibe to the whole commercial. And at the end it's like, and who does that benefit? You. All these things, like, it helps our economy. It helps everything. We're keeping everything inside the country. We're doing all this. And it was just, that one was more patriotic in its intention and its messaging. Like, you want to be a real American, you need to drive a Ford. You know what I mean? Yeah. So the other one that I noticed was really, talking about being American, being built in America, was Nissan. So Nissan, I guess, builds a lot of cars in America. Okay. They have manufacturing facilities here, I guess. Obviously, it's a Japanese brand, but they're built in America, I guess. So they have a thing going where they're trying to be, I guess, more American, and like
just forget about us being a foreign country or foreign company. Yeah, we're just kind of that. We're mostly
here, and they also talk about being manufactured in America, and the thing that they said a couple times is free from new tariffs. So they're really pushing. Like, I think you have the Ford commercial that's really appealing to like the patriot, like, I want to be an American. I want to drive a Ford. And then you have Nissan, who's like, hey, Nissan, you probably know that we're from Japan, but we actually manufacture a lot of our vehicles here. So we're going to get around those tariffs. So it was more of like a practical call to action, So, I think they might feel like, hey, people might associate Nissan with being a foreign automaker. Let's reinforce the message that a lot of them are manufactured here and they're not going to be hit with tariffs. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was an interesting angle to really, really dive in on.
Yeah.
And the Nissan commercial felt like more of a practical reminder and like just something that you might not know. You might think Nissan, foreign, probably going to have tariffs, prices are going to go up. So they need to reinforce, no, we're actually not going to have more tariffs on our vehicles. And then the Ford one really appealed to like it was more of, if you buy a Ford, it means you're this type of person. You're a patriot. You're an American. You want to support America. You want to support jobs here. You know, that was more of who you are as the person buying this and what it means if you buy a Ford. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's all about creating a brand feel. That's what they're all doing. And I always feel like these kinds of things, which I mean TV in general, but like specifically when they're advertising on like the NBA finals or like the Super Bowl, they're never, if you are able to create a brand feel, you're able to differentiate yourself from your competitors. So despite the fact that there's going to be 100 car commercials during this, you know, whatever, and they're all different, if you are able to create a brand feel, you're still able to like set yourself apart to the audience that you're trying to appeal to.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's like a good reminder for contractors, like create a brand feel, like what differentiates you, and then you don't even have to worry about like being surrounded by your competitors because you're able to show that you are different and make your customers feel like you are and show that.
Yeah.
And that's what these people are doing. They're like you said, Ford, super American or whatever.
Yeah.
Nissan. Don't forget about us. We got the reliability of a Japanese made car, but you know, we do manufacture here, so you don't have to worry about those tariffs everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
So you're appealing to the people. Those people, you're probably not gonna gain any new customers. No one's gonna like see that commercial and be like, well, I've always bought American, but that tariff thing, I'm probably gonna switch now to Nissan.
Yeah.
But it's gonna deepen that connection with the people who are like kind of on the fence.
Exactly. And this is going to lead to the more overarching thing that I noticed and can correlate and apply to contractor marketing. So
okay. Most
of these commercials that you see on TV, car commercials, and we'll just stick with the car commercial example for now. So another one that I saw was Range Rover, and you know, obviously different type of clientele, different audience, different demographic that they're trying to appeal to, that want to buy a Range Rover and be the type of person that drives a Range Rover. And their ad had really nothing of much substance whatsoever. It was just like a bunch of really cool shots of like, you know, a awesome looking Range Rover like driving through, you know, the desert and then driving through like the city, and it was just like looked really cool and it was going all fast and cool cuts. And their tagline at the end, Range Rover, defend the impossible. Like, what does that mean? It's very vague. It's very vague, but it's, you know, the person that's going to watch that and connect with that. Again, this is happening subconsciously, saying defend the impossible. Like, yeah, that's me. I'm daring. I'm cool.
I only care about aesthetics because my Range Rover is never going to work.
Exactly. I'm like a badass person that's different. You know, I'm different, and I don't adhere to the norms of society. Tell me it's impossible, I think that says I'm possible. I'm that type of person. You know, I'm going to get a Range Rover. So you make this like connection with what the brand means and what it says about you. You know, and what they're doing is a lot of times they're not trying to sell their product. They're trying to sell you on the person that you want to become. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they're selling you a version of yourself that you relate to, that you aspire to be.
You want to see in yourself, yeah.
Exactly. They're like,
help
you know
get
what?
To that point, yep.
You are cool. You are different. You know, Sean, you're daring. You're a risk taker. And we get that here at Range Rover. Defend the impossible. Yeah. You know, it creates this thing that you want to believe about yourself, and
creates a brand feel. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a brand feel, and it's not something that you really overtly notice unless you're in tune with it, but it's so ingrained in everything that we see, that we do, that we are associated with these brands. And that, like, you do, feel like, since I bought this thing, I'm this type of person. Like that happens. Whether you realize it or not, it happens. Advertising affects you. And there's a lot that we can learn from these really huge budget commercial productions and research that goes into it. So the biggest thing that I noticed between like these type of ads, car ads, just anything that has $1 million budgets for shooting and research and all that kind of stuff is like a contractor. Most of their marketing is about them. It's about them as the contractor. This is what we do. This is why we're great. And bigger brands that sell higher ticket items or have, more brand presence, they talk about you as the consumer. They might not say it in words, but they say it in their imagery. They say it in their visuals. Like, they're selling you on who you are if you use this product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can think of a couple examples of that, like cleaning commercials. So like, you're the type of person that keeps a clean house. So you need Clorox. You're the house that always smells fresh. So you need Febreze. You're the guy that has the greenest lawn on the whole block. That's why you use Scott's. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like they're trying to confirm something that you already think about yourself. And that's what the marketing is aimed towards. It's aimed towards you as the consumer, not about, hey, here's why our cologne is different. You see like an Aqua de Joe commercial. It's not like this is what's inside here, and this is the essence of this and that. It's just like a guy that's like,
perfume commercials never make any sense.
They never make any sense. And it's like this beautiful man that like doesn't even look like a real person, just like swimming on like an island somewhere, and he's just like, Aqua de Joe. And it's just like,
that's some like beautiful woman running away from something for some reason.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're always doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're always whispering too.
Yeah.
But like that, they're focusing on, that connection that you make. Like, I'm that type of person, or I want to be like, they try to put the ideal woman or the ideal man up on the screen in the ad, in the commercial. And a little part of your dinosaur brain thinks, if I buy this product, I'm going to be more like that,
Yeah. And
it's like you look at this guy on the Aqua de Joe commercial, and you're like, wow, women must find him so desirable. And it's probably only partly because of his unreal looks and physique, probably mostly because of this Aqua de Joe. All I need is the smell.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we can apply in our business as contractors, is to talk about the client in addition to talking about yourself. Like, don't just talk about what you offer and what makes you great. Talk about something that appeals to what the client already thinks about themselves. And it got me thinking, what do our clients think about themselves that would want to make them hire us? And I came up with, they want to be different. They want something that's different from everybody else. They don't want the same cookie cutter thing, because they're unique. So they need a unique backyard that reflects their unique personality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? You gave me a look like that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, no. I agree. But I also think that like we take the wheel a lot. We make a lot of the decisions. So it's also like, it's like they want to have a different backyard, but they also don't want to have a hand in like designing it, figuring it out. They want to, they want to delegate that part, but they want a different backyard, but they just want it to be there. And that's what we provide.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think even that is like a, obviously, you don't want to advertise your plumbing company like an Aqua de Joe commercial. Like,
I think you should. You would get attention.
I mean, you definitely would. I mean, yeah.
I think that would be a great marketing Like if you took out a couple commercials like that,
overweight like plumber, like
oh, you're getting calls for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, coming out of like a septic tank and is like,
God, oh, disgusting.
Poopa septic. You know, something like that. Yeah, that could, for different reasons, you know,
for different reasons, that might work.
That might work, but I think even that, like you said, you know, the homeowner doesn't know exactly what they want. They want to delegate it. They don't want to have to make all these decisions. Like, I think that's another like process-driven differentiator, which is great. Like, you can't just talk about the client, but I think that we could do a better job of speaking to the client as far as what does it mean when you hire us? Like, what type of person are you that you want to hire us?
Yeah.
You're unique. You're different from everybody else. You need something that reflects that. You know, you want to be the top of your own statue. You know what I mean?
I don't get that one.
No, that doesn't make any sense. But I think
it's more like when they have people over that entertain, they want those people to be like, wow, this is a really interesting space. These people must be really interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's something I think that we could incorporate more. And I think contractors in general can incorporate more in their marketing. Like, just, I think it's a good exercise to not only focus on what do you think your ideal demographic is. Like, obviously that is really important. We've done that a lot. You know, we have a certain type of person that typically tends to buy from us, but also think about that type of client that you're trying to attract. Not only how do you appeal to them, but what do they want? Like, what leads them to hire you? That I'm having a hard time coming up with the words here. What do they think about themselves that you're trying to reinforce by doing this? Mm-hmm. If you're a lawn care company, is it orienting your messaging to say you're the type of person that's neat, that's clean, that likes things tidy and beautiful, and your lawn needs to reflect that? You know, is that the marketing? Is it what we do? You're unique. You're different. You need a space that's unique and different. This is going to reflect who you are as a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's an exercise that people could do and just incorporate a little essence of that. Almost every commercial you'll see talks about that and shows that. Like, what type of person, what does it say about you if you buy this thing?
Yeah.
So think about that. Anyway, that's what I got for that.
I like it.
Cool.
All right, well, we're kind of running out of time here, so we got to move on. You ready?
All right, yeah, let's go. What do we got next? Oh, yeah. Trivia time. Let's get into it. Heck yeah.
I'm still not sick of this little jaunty tune. I still really love it.
It's a good jaunty tune. It's a really good jaunty tune. All right, what do you got?
We're tied forever.
Tied forever, okay. We might as well stop keeping score. It doesn't even matter. It's just, you know what?
Look at all those ties.
Oh my God. I can't believe you're actually keeping up with it. That's amazing.
I have all of our scores from the time we started.
Wow, good job. You're amazing. You know that? Good job.
Thank you so much.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
You know, one day you're going to have like 500 pages full of all of these scores, and you're going to say, you know what? Looking back, who would have thought I could have stayed persistent and done all this? Stuck
Who
with
would
it.
have thought?
Ooh, look at me now. Now I have this huge stack of paper.
I also have a graveyard of questions on this side, but
oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, you want to go first?
Sure.
You go first. All right, go ahead.
I'll go first. Okay, true or false? The Janka hardness scale is used to quantify the hardness of different wood species.
The jeans.
The Janka hardness scale. I mean, if you wear Janko jeans, you're pretty hard. You know, you're pretty cool and tough.
Pretty cool. All right, sorry, go ahead. Janko hardness scale of what wood?
True or false? The Janka hardness scale is used to quantify the hardness of different wood species.
The Janka hardness of what? This is supposed to be true or false?
True or false? True or false? The Janka hardness scale is a scale that's used to quantify the hardness of different wood species.
Oh, okay. I think you said what wood species.
No, of different wood species.
The Janka. I guess I'll go false. I don't know.
No, it's true. It's
I've
true.
never heard that word.
Wrong.
Okay.
That is the quantifiable number that you give something depending on its hardness. And a fun little comparison here. Southern yellow pine is something that we use a lot. That has a Janka hardness score of 870.
Okay.
And Ipe.
1200.
No. Ipe was number 2 on the list that I saw. 3680.
Dang,
So,
that's hard.
like over 4 times as hard as Southern yellow pine. And the only thing that was slightly higher than that on this scale was Patagonian rosewood at 3840. So,
Wow.
Interesting.
That is
Very
interesting.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's what I got for you.
All right,
Janka
cool.
hardness scale.
Jankos. Okay.
We should bring those back.
God,
Especially
I would
our
love
work
to.
attire. Be cool.
I feel like they did make a comeback at some point recently, and I was like, oh, I wonder how much they are. And they were like another outrageously priced item, and I was like, this is not.
Yeah.
The juice would not be worth the squeeze. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I did some kind of easy questions because I wanted us to not be tied. But you know the IRC building codes.
Yeah.
Do they have a comprehensive hardscaping section in the IRC? True or false?
False.
True. They do.
They do? Oh my
do.
God. Really?
Yeah. Huh, I thought you were gonna get that right.
Know that. No.
On.
I mean, we don't have to get any building permits for any
I know.
hardscape stuff, so that's weird.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's in there.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
How about that? We'll have to consult that maybe.
Meh. Nah.
Yeah, probably not. Not important. All right.
All
Next
right,
question.
We're still
for
tied.
you. Yep. What is the most, universal tool substance in probably the whole world, but definitely construction? What is it? Can you take a guess? This is not the question, but can you just guess?
What? The hand tool?
Just
What are you talking about?
Just thing.
Most universally.
Used thing, substance, construction, household, world. WD-40 is what I'm getting at. WD-40.
You threw me off by saying substance. I figured I was going to say like hammer or something within. Said
Yeah,
substance,
I didn't do a
so-
great job there. WD-40.
Anywho.
You can fix almost anything with it.
Yeah. Water displacement
Basically-
40. Yep.
If it's supposed to move and it doesn't, WD-40. If it
WD-40,
moves
yeah.
and it's not supposed to, duct tape. Those 2 things you can do anything with.
There you go.
So, WD-40. It's something we all know. What year was it invented?
Okay.
The 1896, 1915, 1934, or 1953?
I'm going to go 1953.
You got it right. Good job.
Thank you.
I feel like that was a tough one. I thought it would have been, I don't know, it just feels like something that's 1800s for some reason for me. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it just feels like it's been around forever. I don't know. But WD-40, yes, 1953. And most people do know the WD-40 stands for Water Displacement Formula 40. It was the 40th formula that the Rocket Chemical Company created in their attempt to develop a water-displacing solution for aerospace applications. So, if it's good enough for space, it's good enough for my squeaky door. Good job, WD-40.
Great job. I just used it on my boat the other day.
Nice.
So versatile. Okay.
Yeah.
My turn?
Yep.
Okay,
Let's
so-
go.
Home Depot. Oh,
Yep.
Where am I at? Oh, okay. Home Depot owns several brands. Like a lot. Including
Okay.
Husky, Hampton Bay, Ryobi, etc. Things that we've heard of.
Mhm.
They also own a blind company that is exclusively sold online.
Stevie Wonder blinds.
Is that A, blinds.com, B, blindstogo.com, C, justblinds.com, or D, directbyblinds.com?
I am
Yeah.
going to say, and this is just purely a guess because there is a Home Depot near us and a Blinds to Go out front of it. So maybe at that store they were like, "Hey, we should buy this company right in our parking lot."
This is working here.
Yeah, we're just gonna
make it official.
annex this company. Hostile takeover. I'm gonna say Blinds to Go.
It is not. It's just
Ah.
blinds.com, which
Blinds.com. That's a hot. That's a
that's-
hot freaking domain.
prime real estate. Good for
Yeah.
them.
Blinds.com. Wow. Good job, Home Depot.
Yeah, good for them. Go for
Wow.
them.
Right. Man, learned a lot there.
Yeah, I was interested because they own Ryobi, which I didn't realize. Like I knew it was like it was like a
exclusive brand,
but they actually they don't manufacture them, but they own them.
Interesting.
Because I was trying to find out stats on Ryobi, like how much money Ryobi makes, or like how many units they sell, or whatever. Can't know that. Just it all goes into the funnel of the TTI, whatever.
Okay, TTI brands or something. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
All right. Next.
All right. Next question. Last question. What is the difference between a hip and a valley in a roof framing?
A hip is when the roof changes direction at the beam. A valley is when it is not off of the beam. Does that make sense?
No, not really. Use some different words. Try to. It can be long-winded, and I'll see what I feel about it.
So a hip is when it changes directions.
The hip bone's connected to the leg bone.
I should know like the proper words for this, but I just don't.
You're not really hitting on. I don't know. If you want to just kind of talk it out, and I'll see if you hit on something, then
a hipped roof is like you can have a multi-hipped roof, and it changes directions.
I feel like you're sounding like somewhat like you're on the right track, but also just like you're kind of saying words. Like you can have a multi-hipped roof that changes direction.
Well, you can like when you have those. When you have those
like something. Well, you can.
Those like an A roof is like that's a straight roof. So you got the beam, you got two, and then at the end of that you just got like a flat wall. If you wanted to like round that out, and then you create hips.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. That was a pretty good explanation. But what's the difference between a hip and a valley?
A valley is where two mountains meet.
That's true. All right, I'm just gonna say you're not getting this one.
All right,
you're sort of on the right track, I feel like. But the thing I was really looking for is it's where a hip and a valley are both where rafters converge upon each other. A hip is going to be a convex intersection, where a valley is going to be a concave. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
Like a valley's a low spot in a roof where two roofs meet.
Yeah, I feel like...
No, you didn't really hit on that.
Yes,
you just said it was change direction. That's kind of what a valley is too. Two roofs are intersecting.
I said it's where two mountains meet. That's what a valley is in a roof.
Okay.
Whatever.
Right. Yeah, we're going to agree to disagree there, but you were dancing around it a little bit, but I think you're going to win here anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, what's my last question?
No, I only have one right. You only have one right. We're still tied. Right?
Oh.
Oh, no, you have two wrong. Sorry.
No, yeah, I have two wrong.
I have one right. You have two wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I can tie. Okay.
You could tie, yeah.
All right, let's go.
And this is a pretty open-ended, easy question, so you might be in luck here, my friend.
All right.
We lay a lot of pavers for patios. Mm-hmm. This job, we did a bit of a retaining wall, which is interesting for us. Mm-hmm. But another use for patios is vehicular traffic. Okay. What needs to be different between like a paver patio that's used for people and a paver driveway that's used for vehicular traffic? What needs to be different?
There's several different things. The aspect ratio of the paver itself needs to meet certain criteria. So most normal traditional looking pavers will have to be 80 millimeters instead of 60. Or they could even be thicker, especially if it's a larger format paver. So if you do have a large, say like a 24 by 24, with a paver, you would want that to be like 100 mil, most likely, to sustain that. You also want a deeper base. Make sure that you have reinforcement. You can do drive grid in there. They recommend at least a 12-inch base on for vehicular traffic. And you want to definitely be more concerned about interlock. So, doing an offset pattern that's staggered, or doing a random three-piece where your joints are all separated will help with the the forces that are going to be applied on it from a vehicle that is turning.
Okay. Correct.
You got to give me that one.
Yep. Great job.
All right. What were you looking for? The thickness of the paver? Was that mostly what you were looking for?
I thought you were going to talk about the base, but I was thinking more so the thickness of the paver, but I would have accepted either. But great job.
I hit on everything.
You hit on everything, even the interlocking
That's why I'm the patio daddy-o, all right?
I was trying to give you gimmies, but you only got one of them, so.
I'm kind of dumb, so that's bad on you. You should
and
know
we still
that.
tie.
All right. Again, all right. Well, that's it for this week. I think the overarching theme here is, we've said this a lot recently. It's just be more present to what's happening around you. I really was keying into commercials yesterday, and I was like, you know what? This is pretty interesting. Most people find commercials to be annoying and to be a distraction. But when you think about how much money goes into it and how much is at stake there, and you just start to look at it from a different perspective of why did they choose to do this? They spent so much money shooting this. They spent so much money scripting this, paying for it to be on the TV. Why did they choose this? Probably works. So let's pull something from that. Let's be present and be curious about what's happening around us and what we can learn from it, really.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, being present, being mindful, be mindful of how far you've come. No matter where you're at on your journey, you've come a long way. It could look like a lot of different things for different people. It could be for some people, they didn't think they'd be alive still, but they still are. There's, people suffer with addiction or mental health issues. Yeah. They might not have even thought that they'd still be here. You might not have thought you'd make it this far in your business. You might have went backwards a lot the last couple of years, but you're still at it. That's something to be proud of. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. Be mindful and be introspective and just be appreciative for your journey so far. And hopefully that makes you realize that whatever's next for your journey can be pretty awesome. So that's all I got for this week. Till next time, this has been the Hardworking Happy Hour.
See you next week.